In order to pass the American SAT exam, half of it is math, that's 800 points, and the other half is reading and writing. The big problem for most kids is the math part, because they don't understand that you can solve the problems even without picking up a pencil. I mean, you should be able to do them in your head. Most of them are, A, B, C, D, processes of elimination. And just by looking at the problems, you should be able to eliminate 3 of the 4 or 4 of the 5 choices immediately. And we will train you to do that. We want you to understand that SAT mathematics is not math for like MIT or Harvard. You can go to MIT or Harvard with a good score, but they're not looking for people who are like, fast with a pistol, fast with a calculator, fast with the formulas. They're looking for people who can look at a problem and have an intuition and say, okay, I can immediately eliminate 3 of the 5 choices, and at the other 2, a quick calculation in my head, and bang, I got the answer. We will help you with that on the SAT. Okay, Gary, we know you're living in Washington, D.C., and we know your parents have the money. We're not expensive in Inglés Garantizado because we want to be expensive. We're expensive because we're the best. I mean, the last 7 years have shown us that we beat Kaplan, we beat Princeton, we beat all the other teachers who prepare their students for American SAT exams. We've been #1 in Europe and also in Israel. I mean, the Israeli kids come to us by Skype for classes because they want to pass the American SAT and go to American universities, or use the SAT in Israel at the Technion or in Netanya or Tel Aviv or other cities. There are other countries like Spain where they use the SAT as well. But we've been working with American kids because the philosophy we have is correct. The math is not the kind of math that you do in your high school where you have a calculator and you use equations and formulas. Okay? It's a kind of math that looks like a kid in 6th grade could do it, but when you look a little bit more deeply, it gets a little more complicated, and that's what separates the men from the boys. Okay? Or the women from the girls. Okay, most people who get a good score on the SAT exam always say, I hardly picked up a pencil. We will teach you that. Okay, most teachers you see on YouTube who prepare people for SAT have a blackboard and a marker and they're teaching you trigonometry. Okay, you're not going to see that kind of stuff mostly on the SAT exam. The majority of the SAT are simpler problems. For example, there's a triangle. Triangles have 3 sides. And one of the 3 sides is 8 inches long. Another of the sides is 5 inches long. So we have an 8 and a 5. And then they ask you, what is the minimum size of the 3rd side of the triangle? The minimum. Now, most people fall into the trap and say, well, if it's an 8 and a 5, the other side is a 3. That can't be true, because if the 8 is the base, always put the biggest number as the base. And then you have a 5, and here is a 3. The 5 and the 3 are going to collapse. It means that the 5 and the 3 are equal to 8. You're not going to have a triangle. You're going to have a line on top of a line. That means if you have an 8 and a 5, that 3rd side has to be a little bit more than 3. And that's the answer. A little bit more than 3 or more than 3. That's what you have to write with your pencil on the SAT. We will help you understand that. The SAT is not the kind of math you're going to learn at Harvard or MIT. The SAT exam is an exam where you hardly ever have to pick up your pencil. And because we have the right philosophy, our students are getting into Harvard and Brown and Yale and Stanford and Berkeley and Gainesville and Albany and the best schools in the country, Columbia, okay, Princeton, Johns Hopkins, okay. In fact, our school, Inglés Garantizado, was accused of cheating or hacking 4 years ago because so many of our students were getting into the top universities, okay, and we felt proud to be accused of hacking. I mean, we're doing such a good job that you think we're cheating? That is a very good compliment. No other school, not Kaplan, not Princeton, has ever been accused of hacking by the College Board. Only Inglés Garantizado. So if you want classes with us, get in touch with me at levihello on Skype.